I wanted to show you some tips that I had about tightening chest passes, particularly hole wrap tightening and doing an L pull. I think an L pull is one of the best ways to snug up a spread chest pass, like in most double hammock variations. And oftentimes when I see people who think that L pulls aren't working for them, there's a couple of different things that I see going on that could be causing that. So the first thing with an L pull is you need your wrap shaped like an L, which means that second pass over baby after doing the chest pass, you want to leave it under your arm. I know eventually for most double hammock variations, this is going to go up over your shoulder, but leave it low for now because that's kind of the most direct direction for tightening this chest pass. And the other thing is to make sure that you've already done any strand by strand tightening or anything like that. Your rails should both be tight at this point. So your top rail should already be snug. If you still got top rail slack, you need to work on that first, either by feeding it through or by doing, I prefer a top rail L pull. I find it tightens most evenly. And then after that, then you'll need to walk out any slack from your bottom rail. Make sure you've got that second seat tucked well. And at this point, so I'm going to want to walk that around. Okay. And as I'm doing the bottom rail, I'm also pulling the width tight, so I don't have any particular slack on the top or bottom rails, and I don't have any bunching width-wise. So hole wrap tightening is that last step that just snugs up the whole carry, makes sure the chest pass bears weight in a good way and is nice and snug and even. So the basics of an L pull is that it needs to be L-shaped, not V-shaped. So I'm going to show you the right way to do it, and then I'm going to show you what I see a lot of people do that makes their L pulls not work. So our big thing is we want the slack to move in both directions, through both tails, so that the slack is coming out of the chest pass in both directions. So this original tail, which goes to the bottom, the underside pass, is going straight up. And the outer pass, which I've left as a horizontal pass at the moment, is going horizontally straight to the side. And I'm going to swing it back behind me, low and horizontal. And I'm going to do a little bounce to take baby's weight off the wrap for a moment. And as I bounce, I'm pulling outwards. And when you do that, you should feel it noticeably snug up on your chest. If you don't feel it snugging up on your chest, there's a couple things that could be going on. One of the most common things I see, I have to think about how to do this, is people grab the wrap from underneath. So they have their arm kind of pinned inside the wrap. And then they try to do an L pull, and two things happen here. One thing is that you naturally want to be kind of pushing forward. And so what you're doing is you're increasing all this friction across baby's back, which means it's really hard to get at the slack all the way around at the front of the chest pass, because all the wrap wants to do is tighten this little area between your front and baby's back, which can also cause, instead of tightening the chest pass, it physically moves baby over almost into like a back hip carry. So if you notice baby moving, it's probably because you are pulling forward. Even if you're holding it from the top like you're supposed to, if you're pulling forward, it's going to pull baby instead of moving slack. So you want to make sure you're holding it from the top and lifting it up off of baby's back so that it's targeting this area towards the front of the chest pass. And the other thing, especially when people hold it from the bottom with their arm inside that horizontal pass, is instead of doing an L pull, they want to do a V pull. And when you do the V pull, if I V pull, a lot of times what that's going to do is tighten the bottom rail a lot more than the top rail. So you're not doing an even whole wrap tighten. And also, surprisingly, I can't get it to do it on the demo doll right now. But if I do a V pull, a lot of times you end up, there we go, popping the seat. That was an extreme example, but it can also happen a lot faster if you have a baby wiggling at all. So doing a V pull doesn't target the chest pass as much. It can pop the seat, and as I did that, it hiked baby up higher, which, if I finish this carry, ignore the fact that I'm not doing any strand by strand tightening of the ruck straps, but if I finish this carry with baby up higher than the chest pass, now it's just going to load on the ruck straps instead of the chest pass after I went through all that trouble to tighten the chest pass really well. So, we're going to bounce this baby back down. So you want to keep it low. At this point, your seat should be secure, so you should be able to stand up really straight. Hold the lower tail from the top so that you can swing your arm back behind you. This one up. Pull in that L shape while doing a little bounce and pull. And then, at that point, make sure you're keeping tension on this horizontal tail as you've just tightened it. And then you want to hold it with your other hand so that the arm on the same side, you can kind of slip under it and then grab it from the bottom. And then you can pull it up onto your shoulder. And you kind of want to do this in two separate chunks with the top and the bottom rail, because you're making the top rail now go a much shorter distance and the bottom rail go a longer distance. So if you move them all as one unit, you're going to end up with top rail slack and the bottom rail over tightened and sometimes popping that seat again because you're just pulling it out. So you want to move them separately, get it up on top of your shoulder, and then you can do any precision strand by strand tightening to finish your carry. So I hope that answered a lot of your questions about doing an L pull to tighten up double hammock variations and other chest pass carries.